Hello, everybody. This is where it can be decided. The Constructors' Championship in Sunday League Virtual Season 3. We've come a long way in this, the 30th ever race in the sport. This should be so exciting. I am your host, Skip. As always, I'm going to take a quick sip of water while I leave these teams things up for you to read. See if you can read the bottom one. It's a bit small, I know. BAV with 137 points over BFX currently in the Constructors' Championship. If BAV can take a 7th place or higher, that means scoring 6 points or more today, they will secure themselves the Constructors' Championship in Sunday League Virtual 3. At the bottom, you can see the upgrades for this week. BFX got a grip upgrade, VLO got acceleration, then it was grip for Porsche, speed for Thunder X, and then a cheeky bit of acceleration for super fast racing, as well as some grip for Fuerza Roja. That's what we've got going for us just at the moment. Should be a really interesting one. We'll follow on board for the final laps of the qualifying session here at Malaysia, and this will be fascinating. Currently, it's Jiruni with the best lap time. He started on pole position in Turkey. Can he take another pole here today? That would be simply outstanding from the Belarusian driver. But we'll have to wait and see as they come up to the final bit of the track here. What's going to happen? What's going to happen here? They come up to the line. Bluebell puts himself onto provisional pole. Can that be beat by anybody coming through? Doesn't look like it will. And the Bluebell boy, for the very first time in his Team Velocity career, will take pole position here at Sepang, at the Sepang International Circuit. That's just amazing for him. Hetmeneka will start on the front row alongside Bluebell, which should be really interesting to see. Just checking the historic pole sitters, and yeah, mental. Jiruni starts third. He looked very close to pole, but he just got pipped to the post on the final lap there. Sober will start fourth ahead of Rito, who's in fifth. Jake will start sixth for BAV. If he can finish there, that's all they need to take the Constructors home today. Pit Crew starts 7th. We've not seen too much of him recently. He's popped up to take some points, hopefully. Spooder, 8th for him. WTech, who have had a very on and off season. Not many podiums to speak of, but they've been sort of in and around the mid-pack basically the whole time. Kubo, 9th position, and Urist in 10th. Caddo, in his debut race in Sunday League Virtual, will take 11th place, which I believe is the tied highest ever grid slot for Fuerza Roja. If it's not quite that, it's at least very, very close. Julo will start 12th for Porsche. Hernandi, 13th for KRT. Another good qualifying performance from him, considering the tools he has to work with. Vladinator starts 14th. Anti starts 16th, and it's Grandi between them. Goose will start 17th position. Andrews in 18th. Kamikaze starts from 19th place, and it's going to be amazing starting 20th. That is a really entertaining qualifying session. Bluebell and Hetmeneka are your front row sitters here in Malaysia. Last time out, Hetmeneka also started P2 behind Vlad 0204, no longer in the sport, down to CLV this season and struggling. That was his only career pole position. I'll stop waffling, let's go on with the tokens. None for the BFXs, 2 for Bluebell, which he managed to get a pole position with, very impressive, and a very good indicator of the car, which is only 0.7 index score behind BAV now. For BFX, it's even closer, they're just 0.2 behind, and that's why both of them have managed to beat Jake in this session here. Spooder spending 3 tokens, starts 8th. Hernandi spending 3 tokens, starts 13th. Hetmeneka spending 4, will start on the front row. Pit Crew spending 2 tokens, starts 7th, very respectable for him. Jiruni spending 3 tokens as well, starts 3rd. And Caddo spending 4 tokens will start in 11th position if he can take points on his debut in Sunday League Virtual, his debut for Fuerza Roja, the team that has had the worst car all season and is still in this tight fight for survival, having scored points at just one occasion this season in Mugello. He would be a cult hero. We'll have to wait and see if that can happen. We're very close to the beginning of the race here for the Season 3 Malaysian Grand Prix. Het looks to start on the mediums. We're underway here in Sepang. Bluebell immediately tries to go to cover him off. As they wipe through the first turn, can Jeru get any advantage out of this? He uses a bit of boost, he gets himself past Het. Can Sobel look for a move here through? Rito's dropped back a little bit. Kubo going side by side with Jake. This is over 6th and 7th position. Spooner looks to get through on Jake. Can he get through on Kubo as well? He has to take the wider line into the hairpin, but he's going to get this move. Switch back in time. Rito sends a desperate lunge to the inside of Het, but it looks to have worked a treat. He goes through and up into the top positions. 4th place for him now as Het gets him back. Sobel going side by side. Can Rito follow his teammate through as this BFX pack looks to fight their way up through to the front runners? Meanwhile, Jaruni leads us away. Bluebell in 2nd place, and Het is having to fend off the rest of the field. He's holding them up at the moment on those medium compound tyres. He didn't get a great start compared to the soft runners ahead of him. He's being swallowed up now. It's Jake, it's Spooner, it's Rito. They're all looking to have a piece of him here. And the man who started in 2nd position threads the needle back through the inside of both Spooner and Jake and managed to get back up into 4th. So not all that bad. Front 3 spaced out here, but Sobel has been caught by Het. Rito, meanwhile, down into 8th position. He's had a really poor 2nd lap there. And it's Cado. Cado looking at points in the Fuerza Roja. He's in 9th place at the moment in that beautiful yellow and red Spanish livery. Cado on his debut race. He was called in just over last weekend. He's had a few days to settle, get his seat fitted and work his way into the Fuerza Roja team. That comes of course after the big scandal that involved the payment of 2nd driver Ikolowski, as we see Jake Brad, his former teammate, going down the inside of Spooner and Sobel. That's going to cause a couple issues. Cado boosts past. He's in just 6th place at the moment. Looks the inside of Spooner. Kubo and Sobel look to cut him back. This is 3 wide fighting all the way up through turn 3. Into the round and they go. Cado has to slide in behind Sobel. He's off the racing line there, so Rito and Kubo, the poles have a chance at him. Sobel slows down. The Polish drivers swallow up Sobel, but Spooner is ahead of them all. He's running in 5th place on the hards. He's the only runner in the top 8 on the hard compound tyres. He's done very well. He's made up 3 grid positions off the start. The top 3 unchanged. Het looking to change that. He takes the fastest lap of the race so far on lap 4. Looking to take that position off Bluebell if he can. Bluebell looking really good for a move on Jaruni if he can get the right line. Goes into the double right-hander, takes the lead of the race off the Belarusian driver. Bluebell re-establishes that pole position, and Jaruni looks to just hold on to 2nd place, but he has a very angry Dutchman who absolutely loves this circuit right behind him. It should be a really interesting fight there. We'll have to see how the rest are getting on. Jake's broken free of that pack, looking very good to take the constructors home today. Spooner currently running in 5th, looking for his sort of first decent point since, you'd argue, like Monaco, really. He's not had a good season. Sobel 7th ahead of Cado 8th. That's currently tying the best position that Fuerza Roja have taken so far this season. Jaruni is back into the lead. Not for long though. Bluebell gets a good exit through the right hand to the hairpin. Runs so close to the gravel on the exit of the corner, but in the end Jaruni has to see position to Bluebell, who carried that much more speed and acceleration. Jerry gets a poor run at the final corner, takes a bit of grass, but Het on the mediums doesn't have the acceleration to deal with it. He will have the grip, however. That Porsche with its grip upgrade this week looking very good on the mediums. The more durable tyre. Can Het look at the lead of the race? Is he going to do to Bluebell what Bluebell did to Jaruni? Yes, he is, and Het Meneke takes the lead of the race at the circuit where he won in spectacular fashion last year, taking a 1-3 for Spire Motorsports as they were then. Porsche under new ownership this season. Bluebell and Jaruni both into the lane. We say Jake come in too. Spooner obviously stays out. Will all the soft runners come in? Neither BFX was on the softs. Urist and not going in there either. Kubo and Cado decide to stay out for another lap on the softs. Pit crew skating around a little bit behind our former race leaders, Jaruni and Bluebell, now 6th and 5th behind the BFXers, who are looking very strong. They've not had the strongest season. Rito's failed to take a single podium in a Grand Prix race this season. He's going to look to change that today. He's running in 3rd position. Spooner in 2nd. It's Het in 1st. We'll have a look down the rest of the pack. Jake on fresh softs, looking to catch Pit Crew, is in 5th place at the current moment. Jaruni, 7th. For him, he's pitted onto those new softs. Rito comes into the lane. Now it looks like he will get out ahead of Urus if he can get up to speed well enough. Yes, he just covers off turn 1 there, and Urus on much older hards, not looking very good. He'll drop outside the points positions behind Caddo, who's only a couple seconds back from him and has made a stop already. So that's interesting to see. We're expecting Het in this lap. He is. What's this going to result in? It'll result in Spooder taking the race lead, of course. Will Jake, who is the highest runner to have stopped so far, take the provisional race lead off Het? They come out close, but Jake blasts through and into the lead. Remember, though, he does have older tyres, but Het has harder tyres. He'll be stopping way later than Jake. Jake will probably be forced into an extra pit stop by the next stint, and that's a really nice overtake round the outside of Sobel as they sweep through the S's there. Jake into second position for time being. Sobel needs to get out of the way of his countryman to allow him to go through and win the race. That's exactly what he's done. Will he hold up Girouni now as a sort of favour? Jeru gets a really bad snap of oversteer through that final corner, but so much extra speed down the straight. Not quite enough though. That BFX is a very inherently speedy car, but Jeru looking to have a great race today with 3 tokens. Spooder comes in, he'll stay in 5th place. He's done well with that. He's on the hards, he's looking to make as few pit stops as he can. Jake is your race leader at the moment. Het chasing him on fresher softs. Good start to the race so far. Lots of position swaps. We'll follow Rito, who is in 6th place. He's been chased down by Pit Crew, who has on very, very old hards. He's one of only 4 drivers who have not pitted so far. Rito has stopped and is put on the hards. Spooder as well. Bluebell on the mediums, controversially. Surely Pit Crew in this lap. He's being chased down by Sobel. No, he stays out again for a 12th lap on the hards. They're not supposed to do that long. I mean, it does say 10 to 13, but I'd recommend 11. I'm not sure about 12. He did have a good start to the race. That might be slightly tarnished now if he can't keep a good position after the stops. Het goes into the lead of the race. Jake is behind in 2nd place, and Girouni following him on identical age soft compound tyres. Het on pretty fresh hards. They are a harder tyre, yes, but he's just set the fastest lap of the race on them, so he's not doing too badly, clearly. He comes up to lap our first back markers, coming into the pit lane. Apple and Goose on track, need to be passed by the Flying Dutchman as he weaves his way through those chicanes. It's Girouni still looking at Jake. They're on the same age tyre. They are free to fight here. Jeru gets a really, really good run into the braking zone. Brakes late, but you do massively open yourself up to a sort of sweep back on the inside. Can he get through on Jake? Very tight spot going in through there, and Goose looks to hold Jake up a little bit. He's Jeru's teammate a lap down. Jake with a dive bomb into the lane, and Jeru bugs out as a result of that. He was not anticipating coming into the pits. He's going to have to stop now. He will find his pit box alright, but he really glitched out because obviously he still wanted to get back on that track, and he tried to for a bit, and that has to go to the stewards after the race because Jeru doesn't look to have taken any lasting damage from that. He did, of course, have the same age tyres as Jake, so it's not like he's completely caught him out there, but he has made his 2nd stop on lap 14. He's taken a step softer than Jake with the mediums versus the hards. It's Bluebell versus Spooder, meanwhile, over 2nd place on track, but Jeru and Jake, who are fighting for that position before, I think Jeru's not going to be too pleased with that one. Great side-by-side action through the 2nd corner there. Bluebell just has to hold off the charging Spooder, who does have significantly better grip on those hard compound tyres, but doesn't have the good straight line speeds. They come down through that short straight into the double right-hander. What are they going to be able to do here? Spooder should get a better run out through on Bluebell. Into the hairpin they go. This final sector now, big, open, wide sweepers, but Spooder can't get the car linked up through that section of the track. Won't gain any particular time on Bluebell, who surely will be coming in. Does. Spooder stays going on the track, as does Rito. He's on the hards. His hards are a little bit older than Spooder's, but not too substantial. They're sort of the similar age to Het's, and Spooder's are just a lap fresher or so, but he's currently 6 seconds adrift of Het Meneke, who is absolutely checked out at the front at the moment. Jake, who's on the hards, 4th place, and Girouni, you can see the lasting damage from that. Despite being on the faster tyre at the moment, he's still, you know, a good 2.5 seconds when they were side by side coming to the pit lane. Arguably it should have been Jeru, but it was our last second dive bomb from Jake that just resulted in Jeru going in. It's not the first time that we've seen one of these Goose-owned, cream-coloured teams find their way around a pit stop error in Malaysia, funnily enough. Jake goes through with some pitters. We've got the top 4 on hards, the next 4 on the mediums. Pit crew has not stopped for a second time, of course, because he ran that first stint into the ground pretty much, but he's holding a respectable 7th position. He's got decent tyres at the moment. Rito looking to chase down Spuda. He's going to come out to the lap traffic of Vladinator. That's not going to help him too much, and Vlad does defend here. Reminder that lapped cars don't have to obey blue flags. They can fight it if they'd like to. There's no particular point because you're not doing that for any sort of position, but if your teammate needs a little bit of help, then feel free. Spuda still in 2nd place. Het still in the lead. Jake still being... Oh, he's been caught by Jeru, who's not going to be very nice here at all. Jeru, punch him off. Because remember, we also had the earlier collision through that first hairpin. Not through the first hairpin, but through the one that they've just gone through there. Pretty tight one. Will Jeru return the favour here? Go down the inside of him. Yes, lad. But Jake switchbacks him. That's a brilliant little bit of driving there from Jake, who completely forecasts that dive bomb every Tuesday of the week, but doesn't fall for it. And Jeru's going to go back through here at the right-hander potentially. Jake took that position back at the switchback. Jeru squeezes his way through on the curbs, and Jake realised it's not beneficial for him to fight the angry Belarusian at the moment. Jeru up into 4th place, and their little squabble has cost them time to Bluebell, who has pitted and is out ahead of Giroudi, pitted just a little after Jeru and Jake both did on their respective tyres. Spuda still running in 2nd, nobody challenging Het at the minute. Right, Jake a little bit back from Giroudi at the moment. Rito getting his way past anti-pit crew there as well. Then it's Sobel down here, which is interesting because Rito has fresher tyres, but Rito had a really bad start. He must have recovered well from that. Then it's Eurus in 9th and Caddo running in that all-important point-paying position. Any points will help. Currently, the Nuri Racing team, if they do score 3 points, they will still... they do need to score 3 points. Commie's not going to make it too easy for his teammate to lap him. That's a nice little image, though. The Pfizer Rojas going side by side through there. His brand new teammate after the fallout over driver bonuses with Ikolowski. But Caddo has put all of his horses... no, that can't be right. Put all his money on one horse here and put all of his remaining tokens that were left over from the Ikolowski era. Oof, little bump with Goose there, but won't lose any more positions. They're going into 11th place. Julo fighting it, not fighting anyone actually. Spuda's coming up to lap him. Het is in the pit lane. Spuda nearly gets him here, but will just skate wide of that first corner. Chulo's actually holding his teammate up a little bit. They did have fights between Het and current team principal Levy back when he was a driver, and he ended up finishing 3rd just behind Vlado 204 because of those fights between the SPM drivers, losing them that little bit extra time. But Spuda, who needs to come into the pit lane very urgently, still can't touch Het when Het comes out on those fresh softs, and he has galloped away. He's gained so much time. Spuda will be into the pits this lap surely. Julo does a little bit of defending for his teammate, and Bluebell on this last lap did a 35.20. Het exiting the pit lane was less than a tenth slower, so that does tell you something about the pace differences between the drivers. Het is untouchable, and it's going to be the 2nd race running perhaps where we get the race leader just flying away with it, because Kubo spending 4 tokens in India had an astonishing performance, and when you get the car that enables you to do that, the car underneath you that lets you run away when spending 4 tokens, as opposed to sort of finding yourself buried in the mid pack, that's really when you're sort of laughing. You're really enjoying that. Let's see what else is going on here at current moment. It's interesting. Oh, there we go. That's interesting. Didn't know it did that. Yeah, Eurus in 10th place currently. He's being not chased down at the moment. He's actually chasing down Caddo, who's in 9th. They could take 2 points. As mentioned previously, KRT need 3 points to save themselves from relegation. Currently, that's assuming Pfizer Roja don't score anything extra. So any point or 2 from Caddo here today would be extremely beneficial for the Spanish team, who, despite having far and away the worst car, were just able to make 1 point scoring opportunity count, and that has put all of the cards in their hands coming into the end of the season here. So that should be really, really interesting to see, actually. Really exciting. Fight over 2nd place. It's Spuda and it's Rito. Rito had a bad start. He's looking to take his first podium of the season here in Malaysia, and he's just close to the back of Spuda, but Spuda is on significantly fresher tyres. Bluebell is in 4th place at the moment. watch out for him. He's only got a couple seconds to close to these two before he'll start making some moves. Giroudi running in 5th, which is good to see. He is well ahead of Jake, which is interesting. Jake has to overtake Sobel, who should be coming in pretty imminently, and pit crew before he gets back up to Jeru. So not sure what's happened there. They both pitted a 3rd time. I think that might just be Mother Karma playing her game. Bluebell now a second behind Spoods. Het still out in the lead, and it's Sobel looking good here. What can he do? Goes chasing down Jake, who's running in 7th position, who himself needs to catch pit crew. We'll see if that can happen in the end, but we're not sure. We're not sure. Yeah, okay, we do have wet weather on. Yeah, this should be interesting. Vladinator is into the pit lane. He's in 14th place currently. Well, 14th place now as he comes up behind Andriy. Sobel into the pits as well, as is Antti and Hernandi. Sobel will come out. Ooh, so close with Caddo there on the exit. Caddo still has a bit left to run on these hard compound tyres. And even when Sobel does get past him, it should be pretty soon with the speed that BFX has, 7th speed to the 1 of Fuerza Roja. Yeah, it should be interesting to see that still, because he has got that cushion behind him to our race winner last time out. Kubo is running 6 seconds behind the Fuerza Roja driver, outside the points currently. Het still looking good out in the lead. Comes into pit lane now. This would be not great timing if we had a little bit of rain right after this. He goes into the box. Will he come out well relative to Spuda, who has been his closest fighter on pit exit, and it's even less close this time than it was last. A bit of well-timed rain though could get Spuda back into this as he breezes through the lapped cars. Grandy needs to get Kubo as well. Kubo slightly on the racing line there though, and takes him wide and has to make Spuda back off, which loses you more time than you sort of realise in the moment. It is quite annoying. Kubo defends again. He's backing Spuda up into Bluebell. That's what this is. Kubo has been sitting here on his softs all lap long, and he's parked it right in front of Spuda. Bluebell on the softs looks to make the move. Oh my lord, that's quite a move to make. Takes the position off Spuda, breaks way later going into the pits, and will come through a little side bump from Grandy. The clouds are coming here. Interesting to see, but Bluebell sends one down the inside and sends it all the way into the pit lane, which of course sort of makes the corner wider, so you are allowed to brake later. You are allowed to take a sort of faster line through there to enter in before you hit that pit lane checkpoint. But the closing speed at the apex of that final corner was pretty worrying. It looked like they're about to send each other going well off the track. Rain on the way! Rain on the way. Spuda has yet to pit for a 3rd time. He's in now. He'll undercut Het, who won't pit till next lap for the wet weather tyres. Not good for Bluebell, who now has to make his 5th stop of the race, the only driver to have done so thus far. Giroudi very close in behind, and Goose will double stack for the Flying V Racing squad. Then pit crew and Rito come out side by side. This should be interesting. Kamikaze looks to hold up Jake a little bit, and then we've got Sobel in, Urist in, Caddo still out there on the hards, as is Hetmenico just comes in now. They're some of the last drivers to pit alongside the likes of Hernandi, Andries, Antti and Apley. There's a lot of A's in there. Het in the pit lane now. He comes out at low speed, buried in this little pack of KRTs, but Spuda still a few seconds behind him, even with Het having taken the extra stop. That is the sheer dominance of Het's lead that he built up, and for good reason. You can think if you're sort of 5-6 seconds ahead, you might as well coast. You might as well, you know, there's no point pushing so hard, no point going for a 7, 8, 9, 10 second gap. But when you have these things, when you need the insurance to make sure somebody's outside of your pit stop window, roughly 7 seconds, that's when it comes in clutch to build up that gap and really keep it going like that. We'll keep you updated up and down the field. Looks like pit crew chasing down Rito is one of our tightest battles at the moment. They came out of the pits very close to each other. Obviously all strategy has a complete wet reset when we get the heavy rain. The track has full standing water on it now, but it should be dry within a few laps. It has stopped raining. As I say that, classic Malaysia, we get the monsoon rain coming back here at the end of the race. Who is this negatively affected? Well, it's positively affected pit crew. He's only had to pit 3 times. Eurus as well, only had to pit 3 times, which has shafted Caddo just that little bit, with Kubo now closing in on him. I know everyone at home will be cheering on Caddo to please, please, please get that point for Fuerza Roja. I mean, it would be hilarious to see I nearly said Williams there. Fuerza Roja having 2 drivers this season to score points, and neither of them are the team owner and driver Kamikaze. Sobel very close to the back of Eurus. Now this is a fight over 8th and 9th position. 2 drivers who have fought over wins and podiums before, but you've got to take the points when they come. And currently, because of Jake's position in 7th, they're looking really, really nice. Obviously, it did also have to be essentially, definitely a double podium and essentially a 1-2 for BFX. And with them currently running in 5th and 9th, not looking also likely. BAV had this one wrapped up long ago, but race leader Hetmenica looking to make it count here. He gets slightly held up by Sobel, who makes him just back off again, and that gap to Spuda. Spuda's in clean out at the moment. Bluebell has Caddo just a lap down from him, the really impressive debutant. Can he pull a Nick De Vries on his race replacing Ikolowski? Can he manage to just pull in points for the team so desperately struggling for them this season? It would be so interesting to see that, but he'll have to fight it out with Bluebell's teammate Kubo. I mean, if Bluebell was really evil, he would use that gap that he's got behind him to back up back up Caddo into Kubo rather, because you can see Kubo, a hungry man in 11th place, being just lapping Andres right now currently. We've got Clouds coming back. Okay, we should have a very short, soft stint right at the end, which is always fascinating to see how the teams approach this, because the AI really don't like pitting very near the end. You can see that in France with Rito, although to be fair, you saw it in Mugello Season 2 with Hernandi throwing away the race win in the pit lane. So it is still up in the air, but Het has been so comfortable out in the lead here. You've got to give him all the kudos in the world for that. Very, very quiet, but underrated performance. Spuda holding that 2nd position, and that will be his first podium in a fair few races. Bluebell 3rd at the minute, and that's also very nice for him. We'll check how it's going for the other drivers. Girouni running in 4th place. He'd be happy to take a podium today with his 3 tokens, but he's not managing it so far. Rito currently running in 5th, just laps Andres for the however many time there. Yeah, that's interesting. So Spuda's positions this season, got a podium in Kyalami, got a podium in Monaco where it could have been a race win. And yeah, it's just not been good. He's got a podium, of course, in Istanbul Park, so that was just a couple races ago. But that's his only points that he's taken since the Monaco Grand Prix. That sort of reinforces the WTEC struggles in the midfield pack there. Spuda's still chasing down, Sobel's still chasing down Eurus. Caddo well off the back of them now. He's being lapped by Girouni, and the grip on that Fuerza Roja is actually not that bad. They've got 5 grip now, which is almost sort of upper midfieldy levels, but if you look at their speed, acceleration, anything else, it's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good. Spuda being chased down by Bluebell. Bluebell only a 2nd back. Now we're going to have the track dry at the end of this lap. Hetmenica is being called into the pits. Box, Het, box. We're doing a 3-lap soft stint to the end of the race. You might think that's not worth it, but the pit time is only 7 seconds, and the time loss with wets on a dry track is huge. Het ignores the call to box. He does have a 5-second gap, but the first drivers in are Julo and aptly Spuda and Bluebell, as per common sense, come into the pit lane. Girouni carries on. The track is now bone dry, and Het is just making his way through Sector 1. Girouni in the pits. Rito will be in pretty soon. Pit group Jake and Kubo with a huge bit of gravel on those 2 corners. Andres had that as well. Sobel in 8th has already made that stop. He's 18 seconds back from Jake. Het is still out there on the wets. He's skating around with considerable speed, but little grip. We've got a great fight for 2nd. Could this turn into the fight for the provisional lead of the race? Het did have a good gap, but he has still got a pit, and he's in the pit lane now. He's made his stop. He's going to be exiting here, and Bluebell, who has gone through on Spuda, will not get through on Het as he makes his way into the 2nd corner. There's Bluebell just going into the braking zone for the 1st corner here, as we're on to lap 41 of 42, and Het, it's looked dicey at times. He has had to make a lot of pit stops. You're wondering maybe what would have happened to Bluebell if he didn't have to make that 6th pit stop, something that no other driver here has had to do. He's fighting it out with Spuda still as we come on to the final lap of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Het looks to have this one wrapped up. The podium is anything but. Will it be Spuda in 2nd place? Will it be Bluebell in 2nd place? We had a very similar thing. It was Levy versus Vlad last season on the final laps in Malaysia. That was the 10th race in Sunday League Virtual. We're 20 races later now, and it's still just as exciting here. That's crazy to think about 20 races later. Yeah. Het Meneke comes through the penultimate corner, comes into the final corner, and it's looked so clear and comfortable for him. Het Meneke wins in Malaysia, and Spooder will take second place here and take the fastest lap on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Bluebell will take third place, and Giroudi with very solid points for Fly-V Racing. Fourth position for him. He'll be very pleased with that one. Rito, a quiet but solid fifth place for him. It's Pit Crew fighting out with Jake coming into the final corner. Will the BAV driver come through? He won't, but that won't matter to him. Seventh place is all that he needed. And British Aerial Virtual, for the first time in Sunday League Virtual, are your World Constructors Champions. What a fantastic performance from them all season long. It might not have been so dominant today as they finished 7th and 9th positions, but with no tokens, they couldn't be happier. And Caddo tops it all out. It's 10th place for him. It's points for Fuerza Roja, their 5th of the season, and that puts them just an inch further ahead. Het Meneke and Spooder will, for the first time in my memory since probably season 1 in Sunday League Virtual, will both take a point for the fastest lap of the race. That's crazy. That's mental. Both at an identical fastest lap of a 33.38. Het Meneke, the race winner. Spooder, a very valiant second place. Bluebell, then Giroudi, Rito, and Pit Crew. Jake and Eurus 7th and 9th. They will not care. They will be celebrating like there is no tomorrow at the moment while they're still as a team here. Because as a team, they have done so incredibly well this season. With 2 races still to go, they've wrapped up the Constructors' Championship, and it couldn't have been any easier for them coming into these final 3 races. However, the attention now turns to the Drivers' Championship, because Eurus won it in Season 1. Jake didn't take points until the Season 1 finale in Season 1, where Eurus was crowned champion. So a bit of history there. Eurus came into this round with an 8-point lead. He leaves it with a 4-point lead, but things are ever closer between the BAV drivers. They'll be fighting it out for the Drivers' Championship coming into the final rounds. Pit Crew in 6th, Sobel in 8th, and Caddo, the big story today as well. 10th place, he'll take a point for Fuerza Roja. Every little helps, isn't that right, Jake? Kubo takes 11th, it's Julo in 12th, his Nation Man. Vlad Nate will take 13th, then it's Hanandi in 14th, Andres in 15th, Anti 16th, Goose in 17th, Grandy, then it's Kamikaze and Apple Amazing. What a fantastic race we had here in Malaysia. Just 2 left in the season, 2 weeks left of Sunday League Virtual in Season 3 before we go on our big long off-season break, but I really hope that you've enjoyed this one and you'll enjoy the final 2. Till we see you around the streets of Singapore for a sprint and race double. Bye-bye.